What's up, everyone? Welcome back to episode 5 of the Pitchers Polls podcast. We're just here to share the stories of pro ball and college guys around the world and let them their stories be known. But today we have a very special guest, Calvin Schapira, just recently signed this year with the Mariners. But here we're just here to tell a story, and so whether you just want to listen to the sound of a glove or anything out there involving the baseball game, we're here to tell the story and let you have a great time here. So today we're just going to be looking into his path through everything from growing up to going to pro ball. And so thanks for joining us, Calvin.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
So where did your journey really start, and how'd you really get into baseball when you were young?
Yeah, so I guess living in Arizona, like baseball and all those other sports are kind of year round, but at a young age, kind of gravitated toward baseball and basketball. Would never played football. Mom never really let me. I played for like 2 weeks, and it was 120 degrees, and I quit. Looking back, I'm a pretty big dude, so maybe it would have been fun. But baseball and basketball are kind of always what I did growing up. My dad was a big basketball guy. I always loved baseball. My parents were more basketball fans because it was faster paced. But once you figured out you were kind of left-handed, you could pitch a little bit, and people started to say that that was a pretty good thing to have. I started to, kind of flourish a little bit as a kid, and just always really enjoyed it. Loved competing. And we had season tickets to the Suns, the D-backs, so we went to like pretty much every game that happened, my dad and I, and he kind of taught me, the inside parts of the game, all the IQ parts of it, and just really enjoyed it. So from a young age, was definitely gravitated toward baseball, but I played basketball up until I was a senior in high school, and I think playing both was really nice, gave me some balance, especially once you get to college, and now in pro ball, baseball is kind of all you got. So it was nice to have kind of that escape growing up, but
Definitely. So when was like your first memory of really just like touching baseball, playing catch, front yard, backyard, out of field? Where did that really take place?
I mean, I don't really remember this. My dad tells the story of like he had the little like Velcro like glove with the ball, and when I was, I don't know, 2 or 3 years old, he would like roll it to me, and I'd throw it back with my left hand, and he was like, no, like throw it with your right hand, and I would just go right back to the left, and he was like, oh, like maybe he's lefty, like that'd be pretty cool, and then. Like 9, 10, 11, you start pitching in little league, and you start, getting guys out, striking guys out, and you kind of like, oh, this is pretty fun. Like I really I enjoy this part of it. Um, but I think just playing out with my dad, and he liked to work, and he'd come home from work, and we'd go to the park and play basketball and baseball for hours on end. And so I think that's kind of like the first memory of it, was just being at the park and just kind of having fun with it, and um, really just enjoying the process of it, and just I get to hang out with your dad. It's a cool thing to do, and especially doing it playing sports, and those are the two things he liked to do. So I kind of just that's how I got into it, and then um, from there just kept playing them all throughout. And he didn't really know a lot about baseball, so it was kind of like we were both learning as we went, which was kind of fun. And it was just always something I guess was naturally like good at, naturally enjoyed, and when you do that as a kid, I think you kind of just gravitate towards that. And every yearbook and everything that you write down is like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it was always an MLB pitcher. And so from every yearbook from preschool till I was a senior in high school, that's pretty much what I wrote down. So I think from a young age, I was kind of ingrained that like this is kind of what I wanted to do.
Definitely. So what was like the first time you remember really pitching? Like, did you obviously you always wanted to be on the mound, like you said, but what was the first like memory you could really think of? Like, how old were you, and where was it at, if you can remember that?
So I was pretty into baseball cards when I was a kid, and I threw lefty and batted righty, and there wasn't a lot of people that did that. And the first baseball card I remember finding was Randy Johnson's, and he threw left, batted right, and obviously he was a pitcher. So I was like, well, I guess that's what I'll do. So pitched in Little League when I was like 9 or 10, and I think whatever award they have for like the best pitcher in the league, or so, I think I won something like that. But it was like the last year my dad ever coached me, and I just remember pitching like every playoff game, which looking back probably wasn't the best for my arm, but like threw well and did that. So I'd say 9 or 10 years old, just like playing for my dad and taking after and wanting to be like Randy Johnson because he threw left and batted right. I didn't really know he was like obviously the Hall of Famer that he is, but I was like, I guess he's a pitcher, so I guess that's what I'm supposed to do. So followed in that footstep, and I remember pitching in Little League a lot and always doing pretty well. So
Definitely. And like early on, who are your like main influences besides your dad? I know your dad's obviously a big influence for you and Randy Johnson, but what other like MLB guys or other coaches or family did you really like have growing up that influenced you to just keep on pushing?
So probably pitcher wise, I mean, I was a Kershaw guy, still am a Kershaw guy. I think there was a span in high school where I didn't miss a start of his. Like I'd watch it and then I'd rewatch it and then emulate it. I went to, if he pitched in San Diego or Arizona, somehow my dad and I made it out to go watch him throw against the Padres or the D-backs. So I was always a big Kershaw guy. I loved his work ethic. I wasn't into my faith then, but now learning that he's, a Christian and stuff like that, that also just happens to be another thing that I am. And seeing his journey through his faith and stuff like that also drew me to him in that aspect. And I was really blessed to have really great coaches growing up that taught me, I think, like how to pitch and to enjoy pitching in the process of it. And Steven Randolph is a guy that took me under his wing when I was 14 years old. He would watch me and my dad throw in the cages in Scottsdale, and he could kind of tell my dad didn't really know a whole lot of what he was talking about pitching wise. And he came over one day and helped me throw with him. And so, I mean, I was 14, I'm 25 now, so I've been throwing with him for about 11 years. And if I text him like, hey, I need to throw tomorrow at 11, my mechanics are messed up, he's there. And he's always been in my corner, always believed in me. And then Ken Roberts started training me when I was about 16 or 17, or after he played pro ball. Um, Not that I've accomplished what he's accomplished, but he was a 21st rounder that ended up playing the big leagues for like a year and change or something like that. Kind of made himself out of nowhere. Didn't throw very hard, but just competed and worked his butt off. And I learned a lot of like my weight room stuff, my nutrition stuff. And we don't really talk on the phone, but we text just about every day. And he's 30, I don't know, 34, 35. He's probably my best friend, which isn't like super normal, but he's kind of mentored me along with my life. So I think those two guys, other than my dad, have really shaped me into the man and the baseball player that I am today. And I credit a lot to those guys, and they've been with me every step of the way. So.
I mean, that's awesome. Like everybody has their own people and everybody has their own path. And sometimes a coach does end up becoming your best friend at the end of the day, and you never realize
Yeah.
it. But it's the way the world works sometimes. And especially me, I'm also a Kershaw guy, like you said. Grew up watching, I mean, every single one of his starts I can think of. I mean, if I was a hitter, well, I did hit. I was an Andre Ethier guy too. So
Yeah.
definitely love those guys, and especially like both of the work ethics. Like you said, Kershaw, that guy works harder than anybody out there. I mean, he's almost 40 years old now and got 3,000 K still and still pitching
Yeah.
run. So love what he's doing. But it's just awesome, especially this. But let's go further on. Like, what was that aha moment for you when you realized like I think I could really do this pitching thing at the next level, at the collegiate level, and probably even further.
Yeah, so I want to say it was like my sophomore year of high school. I mean, obviously you pitch and you throw well and whatever, but I remember I was pitching for some local Arizona club team. We were playing against GBG Marucci, who was Michael Garcia Parra's club team, and at the time they were like the club team in the world. Like they were amazing, and I don't even think I was supposed to pitch that day, but something happened, and I ended up having to come in like the fourth. And I'm 14, 15 years old, and it's an 18U tournament. My dad always had me play way above my age, so which was a blessing. And you got rocked a few times when you're 13, 14 playing 18-year-olds, but looking back it was probably the best thing for me because you learn how to be around older guys. So I'm playing this 18-year-old team, and they're all going to Oregon, Michigan. I think a few of them are in the big leagues now, and I do pretty well for like the last 3 or 4 innings. And after the game, he comes up to my dad, comes up to my dad and is like, hey, like, would you want to play for us? And my dad was like, sure. I don't know, we don't really know what that means. And this other guy named Scotty Tenen, who ended up helping with like college recruiting and stuff, was like, your son has like a chance to like, go to college, go to whatever college he might want and do these kind of things. And for him, my dad and I, it was kind of a shock. I just kind of showed up to pitch and ended up pitching against this really good team. And then the rest of my high school career ended up playing for GBG. And the offers started coming in left and right, being tall and left-handed. I didn't throw very hard, but always had a good pitch ability. And obviously that was attractive, at the time when not everyone at that age was throwing 95 when they were 16 like they are now. But it was a little bit more about like pitchability and those kind of things. And I think that kind of stood out, obviously, with the predictability and stuff, and started to kind of gain interest and realize that, not only can you play college baseball, you can probably choose where you want to play college baseball. And that's a pretty special thing to be able to experience. And they helped a lot with the recruiting process and talking to coaches and going on visits and those kind of things. So I think that outing my sophomore year, my dad still talks about it sometimes, but just showing up and pitching against, one of the best club teams in the nation and throwing pretty well, I think it was the first time I realized that there was a chance that this could, at least go into college. And you always dream of it, but you don't really know if it's ever really going to come true. So to have a chance to be able to do that was a pretty cool day, and something that him and I still talk about.
Definitely. Was there like a moment? Obviously, we'll get into the type of pitcher you were, but what was like the turning points in high school for you? Like, besides like the club scene, was there like times in high school, like junior, senior year, where you're like, okay, this is really it. Like, now I know what college I'm going to. Was the pro ball scene kind of like more in the back of your mind? Like, I think I can really achieve this at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think I unfortunately dealt with some injuries in high school, but I think once I started to get the interest, and once Steve and Ken, like who I talked about, kind of really like started to see that there was a chance, I kind of fell in love with the work of it. Like not even the playing side of it, but like I loved being in the gym. I loved, spending probably too many hours working out and doing whatever med ball and the random things that you do when you're 16, 17 years old. But I just loved the process. And I think that's when talking to them, you realize how important the process is in pro ball, because everyone has talent. Everyone can, throw hard, throw pitches for strikes. But it's the guys that last are the ones that work and are consistent and have a routine. And obviously, Kershaw's a routine guy, so kind of learned some, superstition slash routines and stuff like that. That you start to fall in love with the process of it. And the offers started coming, especially from bigger schools. And they see something in you, and that kind of gives you a bolt of confidence. And ended up committing to USC my junior year of college, and then the following year at Jupiter. Through my senior year, through really well at Jupiter, had a little velo spike and then got hurt. But that's when I started to kind of hear from scouts about like maybe the draft was an option, depending on how I came back from my injury. I didn't come back very well. Had some calls to come out of high school, but at that point I was pretty set on going to college. But even to throw in like a pro day and have half the teams there or whatever, 20 scouts there to just watch you pitch, you're like, oh, maybe they care a little bit about me, so I guess there's a chance that this could happen. So I guess that's the kind of first time I realized that if I run with this and if something comes of it, then there's a chance to play this at the professional level. But my journey wasn't very linear to be able to have it accomplished. But to be here today, you kind of look back and you're thankful for all those moments.
Definitely. So obviously the recruiting process was a little bit chaotic for you, and you went to USC out of high school. What was like the college scene for you? I know you ended your career at San Diego, so what was that kind of like going from USC and then to another school?
Yeah, so I went to SC my freshman year. Probably at the time just wasn't the best fit for me, like maturity wise. Being in LA, in downtown LA, handling all that. I didn't come back from. I had a little elbow injury in high school. I didn't come back from that very well. I was throwing like 84 as a freshman, which in the Pac-12 isn't really going to do it. But had really good teammates, had guys around me that were great with me, that taught me a lot. I found my faith my freshman year of college, which was the biggest blessing. And then after that, kind of realizing that this probably isn't the place for me. And so that was before the transfer portal was like a thing. So you had to go from D1 to JUCO back to D1. So I ended up going to Central Arizona College my sophomore year, and that kind of like restarted my career. I'd say like velo started to come back, started to really. I only threw 7 innings my freshman year at SC, and it's a pretty low point to be to only throw the crap innings and those kind of things. So you kind of lose. You start to wonder if you can do this at all. And then going to SC or going to Central my sophomore year, um, with Gilich, who's a great coach. He's at University of Washington now. I still talk to him, semi frequently, and that place kind of revived my career. Kind of learned how to pitch again, learned how to um, just be healthy again. Um, and it was an hour from my house on the weekends. I got to go home. I got to go to church every Sunday. I got to kind of be in a really good routine and ended up throwing really well my sophomore year at Central. It was COVID year, but Arizona JUCOs start earlier. So I got, 30, 40 innings in before COVID hit, and I think I gave up like 2 runs in whatever innings, and started to get some looks for scouts again for the draft that year, which was kind of like, oh, nice. Like this is cool. Like I have a chance to do this maybe again, like kind of like for one of the first times felt like I kind of rebuilt myself into what I was supposed to be out of high school. And it was a 5 round draft, so there wasn't a whole lot of options. Got a few calls again, but obviously wanted to go to school. So I ended up committing to Purdue, which is a Big Ten school in Western Indiana. And my junior year, started out the Saturday guy, ended up being the Friday guy the latter part of the year. Threw well, didn't throw very hard, but threw a lot of innings, which was a great experience. And Purdue was probably one of the best places I've ever been, aside from baseball. Like being in a Big Ten school, going to football games. Obviously, we're one of the best basketball schools in the country, and I met some of my best friends there. I've been in two of their weddings, and we all talk. There's about five of us that all live together, and we talk just about every day. So, baseball aside, I met some of my best friends for life there. So, always be a Boilermaker, and that place is really special to me. And ended up getting TJ my senior year, my true senior year, a week before the season. So I was out that whole year, and then my fifth year came back right at 12 months, and I was terrible again. There was 85, 86. Started for a little bit, slowly got bumped back just because it was not good, and then ended up straining my flexor, so I was out that whole year, and I knew I kind of needed a change of scenery. So I actually went and played summer ball in the Northwoods, just because I was in the portal. I only had thrown 13 innings post TJ. I had good video out from my junior year, excuse me, being the Friday guy, but that was obviously 2 years before that. So kind of had to go and kind of reprove myself again. And I knew I wanted to come back home, especially for my what would have been my sixth year of college. I wanted my family to be there. My dad had just moved to San Diego. My mom still lives in Phoenix, and wanted them to. If it was my last year of baseball, I wanted to be somewhere where they could watch me. And if I showed up day one and I, broke my leg, at least I wanted to be somewhere where I was, happy. And University of San Diego kind of came in at the last second. They offered me, the last roster spot, no scholarship money, and I was like, all right, I'll take it. Like I get to live at the beach. I get to go to San Diego. My sister goes to San Diego State. My dad lives 30 minutes away. It was more of a life decision than it was a baseball decision at that point to kind of go somewhere and, just enjoy myself. Not that, Purdue was great, but it's a little cold. So I lived, 30 yards from the beach, and we had great coaches. And I showed up, and Matt Floor, who just took the job at Oregon, kind of looked at me and was like, you have a chance to do this. And so the only way you're going to do it is if you throw harder. At that point, I was probably, 88, 91 in summer ball. And he was like, this fall, you're just going to throw heaters. Like, you're just like, and you're going to throw them as hard as you can. And you're going to throw them right down the middle. And we're going to see how hard you can throw. Like, I don't care how many runs you give up. Like, you're going to learn to throw hard. And that was like, to hear that from a coach where, fall and college is kind of about performance, all these kind of things. He's like, we know you can pitch. We know you can do these things, but like, I want to give you a chance. And that's what they did. In my third outing, I gave up 10 runs. I gave up like 6 homers, and I came off the mound like I'm the worst pitcher ever. And he was like, hey, great job. Like, you threw heaters, you threw strikes. Like, you were 91, 93, touching the 4 or whatever it was. Like, you did that was great. And to hear that kind of like confidence after you just give up a 10 spot in the scrimmage, like, to hear that from a coach is like, I don't think you get that a lot in the college game. And him and Brock Undricht, I give my career to them because they gave a 23, 24-year-old banged up left-handed pitcher a shot. And USD will always have a really special place in my heart. We had a Bible study there that me and Connor Thurman, who was a first-team All-American, started together. And baseball aside, that was one of the coolest things I've ever done. We started off, our first meeting had 6 guys, and by the end of the year, we'd have 25 guys. And to be able to lead guys like that, and for me to like be the guy that spoke most of it, like that's a pretty nerve-wracking thing. But to have that effect on the guys, and then to have a really good team. We won the regular season. We won the conference tournament in Vegas, which is one of the most fun baseball times I've ever had in my life. And then went to a regional, and I ended up unfortunately helping us lose the first game to Oregon, who went on to the Super. But just to be in that atmosphere, and we took Oregon to 11 innings and kind of helped put USD on the map again a little bit. Was to be a 2 seed in a regional as a WCC team is kind of unheard of. And they kind of gave me, endless opportunities, and was able to do well in that, and kind of sparked my love for baseball again, and the thought of like, hey, maybe I can do this pro ball thing again. So kind of a wild college journey, 4 schools in 6 years, but every step along the way, just met great people. Guy was there the whole time, just leading me through it, and it wasn't pretty. It wasn't how everyone draws it up, but it was perfect, and I really, really enjoyed it.
Definitely, I know. I watched you guys play here in Vegas as a local, and it was awesome just seeing that run. Didn't think you guys were gonna come out of nowhere, but was able to watch the spring game down in San Diego also that year, and seeing you guys, I think, hit like 6 bombs in one game against Cal State Fullerton, and like 2 go on top of the Dorbs and right. Like, I mean, you guys were a legit squad, and San Diego is a legit squad and on the map now. And especially, like you said, mid majors, especially mid majors, they need to be talked about. It's not all about the Power Four schools, and mid majors got good guys, and I think more guys are going to start getting drafted and signed out of them just because, especially the roster limits now 34 guys, but there's going to be a lot more people out there, and mid major baseball is good, just like you said. But let's talk a little bit more about the college ball and on the terms of like the beast itself. Like, what was your biggest adjustment going from high school to college on the mound?
I mean, you give 22, 21-year-old guys, grown men at that point, a metal bat. Even if they don't get it, they can put some damage on it. So you kind of learn pretty quick that the hitters are pretty good. So you got to learn to, you know, no matter how hard you throw, they can hit it. And I mean, the same goes in pro ball, but especially in college with a metal bat, you got to be able to mix pitches, mix speeds, mix locations, and have pitchability and have the stuff to back it up too. So I think realizing that and having a plan, you know, not only in the game but in the at bat and the count and just trying to win counts, I think is the best thing because you give those guys any bit of an advantage, no matter if it's junior college, mid major, power five, whatever it is. They're good. They can hit. They're there for a reason, and you realize that pretty quick. But then you also have to realize that you're there for a reason and you're pretty good. So it's that tough balance of being able to know that you're pretty good and they're pretty good, and you kind of show up and it's like, all right, let's see who's going to win today. And if they get you once, it's like, all right, that's not going to happen again. And it's an adjustment. It's kind of a trial by fire thing. I think you kind of show up and you got to get your teeth kicked in a few times and learn from it, and then you adjust. And I think that's why you see as guys get older, as teams get older, they perform a lot better just because the moments don't become as fast. At first, my freshman year, I remember someone told me, he's like, hey, your first outing, like, you won't be able to breathe. And I was like, yeah, dude, whatever. Like, I'll be fine. It was some like Tuesday game. We were down by 10 and I come out of the bullpen and I can't breathe. I'm like, this is terrifying. Like, I am freaking out. Like, he was so right. And he's yelling at me from the dugout. He's like, hey man, just breathe, just breathe. And I'm like, yeah, like you, and I came off and I was like, you were right. I couldn't breathe. So I think just the experience, understanding the moments, no matter if there's 5 people there or 5,000 people there, the game's the same, but it also, if you love it, it means something to you no matter how many people are there. And so I think it's being able to learn to slow down the game, to enjoy the game, and to have a process before the games that you go into it with like no stone left unturned and knowing you put the work in and whatever the result is that God will take care of it. And if it's a great day, then great, you steward it and try to build off it. And if it wasn't a great day, it was something for you to learn from. So kind of having that perspective and then taking the results aside because everything seems so result oriented. And if you get caught up in that, you're gonna go crazy. So and luckily my mentors and all them, I'd probably text them after every outing, whether they liked it or not. And they were able to kind of keep me even keel, whether it was a great outing or a bad outing, just remind me of the process and to learn from it and to kind of grow in those aspects.
Definitely, and I mean it's true. I mean, throwing my first summer ball outing up here, I wasn't sure. Like the guys were also like the same thing. Like you're not gonna be able to breathe. Like we're going into a place. Like there's gonna be a couple thousand people. These are college guys. Like they can hit, and you're completely right. Like you can't breathe. You have no idea what's going on. Don't understand it. Don't know why. But definitely, like you learn the aspect of the game and definitely how to control it, and that's part of the speed of the game. Like the game speeds up on you sometimes, and as a pitcher, I mean, our job is to control it. And how did you make that adjustment, being able to control the speed of the game, understanding that no matter what was going on, you were in control of what was happening?
I think experience is one thing. Like I said, well, like you kind of just got to go through those outings and learn from when it speeds up on you, learn what you did well, learn how to slow it down. And I think the biggest thing is kind of the opposite, like realizing you're not in control. And I'm probably up there praying before every pitch at when times when it's going fast, like God, just take it. Like you got, like I know I did the work, I know I'm prepared, but like now the stage is for you, and kind of giving it up to Him and staying in your breath, staying in the moment, and realizing that it is a game and you're supposed to have fun. As serious as it is, or as on the line as it is. You just go out and compete. And I think from a young age, I love to compete. And I think that kind of translated into as I've gotten older, just realizing how much you love like the aspect of like mano a mano, let's see who's going to win. And when you kind of focus on that and don't let the situation dictate how you feel, I think that kind of helps you slow it down. Um, my dad used to joke when I was a kid, I'd walk the bases loaded on purpose because I liked, the pressure of having to strike the next 3 guys out. And But you just, in those situations when people are on base and things are on the line, when it's a high intense situation, whether you did great or did bad, you learn from it. I think the more you're in it, just kind of the slower it gets, you learn how to kind of control those thoughts and emotions, and also kind of want those feelings. You want those moments. You want everything to be on the line, because then it brings the best out of you, and you get to really see where you're at. So I think that's not that there's a one trick of like like there's a bunch of breathing and whatever things out there, but I think it's kind of just something you kind of learn as you go. Like as cliche as it sounds, I think you get used to it. You start to like learn from it. You watch other guys do. I think that's the biggest thing. You got to pick, if you're around guys that have done it or doing it, that you pick their brains and you see like, oh, that works for me, that doesn't, and you kind of tailor it to what works for you, and you start to figure out your own routines and what kind of helps you tick. And it's not going to be the same as the guy next to you, but it doesn't hurt to learn from those people around you.
Definitely, and that's all important stuff, and it definitely learning from experience is one thing. I know you got a bit of all 7 years on me in college experience. So everybody on here, everybody has different experiences, different timelines. I mean, some guys go out of high school, some guys go after 6 years, some guys go after their first year in college, and it's definitely important just being around those people that help you at the end of the day, because whether you have the experience or someone else does, it's going to be helpful with whoever has it and however you can get it. But let's transfer a little bit. Let's talk about routines, superstitions. What was your like? What's your game day routine look like? And are you superstitious at all?
Uh, I'm probably stitious. I have a few things. I try not to list them as superstitions, even though people around me would probably say that I do. I'm a pretty routine oriented guy. Now being out of the bullpen, where I'm at now, it's kind of not harder to have a game day routine per se, because you could be hot for 5 straight days and not throw for 5 straight days, or you could throw 3 out of 5 days in a week. So you kind of find the few check marks that make you feel good and get your body in the right place. And um, I love the ice bath. That kind of helps me when I first get to the field, kind of like calm. Everything kind of slows down. I don't wear headphones, nothing. Just kind of sit there, pray, just kind of spend some time with myself in a little bit of suck. And it's cold, but it feels good afterwards, and it kind of wakes you up. And then um, had some great trainers that given me some mobility routines. I'm a pretty stiff guy, so you start to kind of fall in love with those routines, fall in love with the process. And it's long, and sometimes your prep can take you 30, 45 minutes, but you start to create, the result that's going to come at the end of it. So I found a routine that works for me, and a little bit of that, a little bit of mobility, and then before the game, I like to get a little bit of like a mini lift in, just to kind of gets my mind right, gets my body right, gets me feeling a little springy. And um, I love, like I said earlier, I love to be in the weight room, and doing that before a game, and just moving around a little bit kind of helps me feel like I'm a little tight, so I can go out there and use what I did in the weight room, and then that can translate to how I feel on the mound. So I think that routine, as of now, is what has worked for me and what has made my body feel good and recover for the next day. And that's different. Some guys aren't weight room guys, some guys are. Like I said, you kind of just gotta. My college coaches at USD said, "Know who you is," and you kind of figure out who you are, and you kind of build off that. And some guys don't do it, but that's what's worked for me.
Do you have any like go-to meals before the game? I know talking to some people before, they got to eat the same thing every day or every time they have a start or something like that. Do you have any of those, or are you just kind of like got to get my meal in no matter what it is?
Yeah, I mean, I try to eat as clean and healthy as I can, especially when you're playing as much as you play now. It's definitely an adjustment. You realize that you can't eat like you did when you were 20. So I like my smoothie. I have a smoothie, but I bring on the road. I pack my blender and I go to the store on our off day and get all my stuff for my smoothie. So it's not too heavy. It has my fruits and my vegetables in it, and has some protein in it, and kind of can hold me over during the game. So I like that. If I can't have it, it's not the end of the world. I try not to let those things dictate if I do or don't eat this or have that. That it's not, I'm not going to be good today. So you try to actually be fluid in it, and almost on some days eat opposite of the routine, just to kind of keep myself in check and remind me that like the food isn't what makes me good, or this routine isn't what makes me good. Like it's what God has given me is what helps me to perform, and realizing that, and having some freedom in it. But obviously making sure that you're fueled and hydrated, and all those things are important. And I drink coffee, so I have coffee just about all day, every day. So that's probably the one thing that's pretty consistent in that is the coffee.
Definitely. How many cups do you consume a day? I know I've seen some crazy interviews. Some pro guys like to have a boatload of caffeine before a game or during the day. Like, how many cups of coffee are we talking a day?
I mean, it's probably more than the average Joe. Me and some of the guys here, there's a quote from Hunter Brown that the picture for the ad was that you put in diesel, you get out diesel. And so I'll have a few cups in the morning. I'll try to hang out. I'll have one before I lift, and then I'll drink a cold brew at the start of the game just to kind of, if I'm hot, just to kind of wake me up because we're playing at 6-7 o'clock every night. So, and I'm not going in the game till 9. So my days kind of move back a little later, and that cold brew kind of gets me going a little bit, gets the heart rate going, gets you a little jittery, and gets you moving around. So that's the routine right now, and that's not super health oriented, but it has been good for me, and I sleep pretty good at night, so I guess it doesn't deter the sleep either.
Definitely. So let's talk about a little bit of the college, or it even could be pro ball so far. What's your most memorable performance? And then after that, let's go with your funniest road trip stories you've had so far.
Memorable performance. That's a good one. Um, I feel like a lot of the USD ones down the stretch come into mind. Um, I think I ended up getting the win in the conference tournament game in Vegas through like 3 innings. I don't even think I punched anybody out. Like probably arm wasn't feeling good. I think I threw like the day before or something like that. But obviously it's the championship game, and I didn't know if I was going to keep playing baseball. So I was like, here we go. Like I'll do whatever it takes to make it happen. And came out I think with a guy on like first and third or something, and Alex Schreier, one of my best friends, ended up getting a double play to end the inning. I remember just going crazy, and ended up dogpiling that day. Was fun. Throwing in the regional against Oregon, coming in the ninth, 10th, and 11th. Unfortunately, obviously, I gave up a homer in the 11th to lose the game. But those 3 innings in that atmosphere was pretty special, and that was cool. And then this year, our opening night in Modesto, I had just signed, 10 days before that with the Mariners. And you don't know, I didn't even expect to be out in the affiliate. I'm out here, and the pitching coach had kind of said, like, hey, we're going to try to, like, kind of give you a soft landing, like, into your first pro ball outing, like, kind of see what happens. And ends up being, I think there was, like, we were the home team, so there's, like, one out in the bottom of the eighth. We're hitting, and radio comes down, and he goes, Shapira's in the game. And I black out. It's like a 1 or 2 run game, I think. I'm like, are you kidding? The opening night, like, there's whatever's going on, and first two batters were both comebackers too, which was just the second one was kind of a somewhat athletic play too, which was not really in my repertoire, but to get two comebackers and ended up a couple guys got on, but ended up getting a save that night was kind of a surreal moment. My dream came true 10 days before that to play pro ball, and then opening night to get the save. And you don't really get to it. It's hard when you sign, and everything moves pretty quick. I threw in a couple of games. You're in spring training. You're seeing all these guys you watch on TV and whatever, and then you throw in that first game, and then it all kind of hits you. And then after the game, obviously my family was watching to call them. It was a pretty emotional moment because I wasn't sure if I was ever going to get here, and to have that save on opening night was probably something I'll never forget. And I saw my dad, I think 3 days later, to give him the ball was pretty cool. And then what was the second part of the question?
What's your two favorite, like, funniest road trip stories you have?
I mean, those mafia games in the bus, whether it's college or we had some good ones in pro ball this year. Those are pretty unbeaten. I don't know how much is like appropriate at times to say, but I just know that those games get pretty heated, and the
Oh,
arguments get going pretty good. And I love those are fun. Those bus trips, as much as people say they suck, I think I love them because you're on a bus for however many hours with the same guys. Like, you end up talking, you end up having these crazy conversations. At USD, we had some really, all the old guys. We had a couple, like, 23, 24-year-olds. We all sat in the back and just chopped it up. And those bus trips, those times when you're almost not playing, I feel like the ones you remember the most. I'm trying to think of another one. In the West Coast League my freshman year, we had a 14-hour bus ride. We left at 2 in the morning to go from Portland to somewhere in Canada, and a guy brought a hammock. I don't know why I remember it, but it was just crazy to see and he's a bigger guy. I think he's with the Cardinals now, but like a big 6'6" starter just sleeping in a hammock above everybody on a 14-hour bus ride was pretty funny to see. But I think just those mafia bus rides are those are things that you just I think whenever I'm done playing, whether it's a year, 5 years, 10 years, like those are what I'll miss. Those bus rides, those times off the field of traveling with everyone and just kind of being in it together is the most fun you have.
So, big mafia guy. I gotta ask, are you a good cop? Are you a better moth? Like, what do we roll here? Are we good nurse? What's your best role
Uh,
in the game?
I wouldn't say I'm the best. My dad's a lawyer, was a lawyer, so I have the argument side in me. I can argue with the best of them, but I guess fortunately, unfortunately, I'm not a great liar. So if I'm the moth, I just start smiling, and it's a pretty easy giveaway. So I'm not the best. I'm a decent narrator. I like to do that just to watch the chaos unfold, but just being a part of the games, I think, is the most fun.
Definitely. So, big narrator guy. I gotta ask, do you like messing with the cops for a second? Do you give them a good, just terrible thumbs down before you give them a thumbs up, or do you like messing with people and then making the story funny? What do we do when we're narrator?
Yeah, I think making the story funny and making it dramatic and making it a little personal with the guys, I think that kind of gives you some flavor and makes the guys appreciate the game a little bit more.
Definitely. All right. Well, we'll move off of that a little bit. We're gonna nerd out, especially me being another left-handed pitcher. Nerd out a little bit. What's your kind of like pitch repertoire? Like, what do you throw? Velo, it is what it is. Not a huge velo guy, but what do you throw? And what's probably your most confident pitch?
So especially this year, just kind of hammering out the four seam, two seam, making them different, throwing mostly fours to righties, throwing twos to lefties, and then kind of started to develop a sweeper earlier in the year this year, and that's kind of become a pretty good weapon to use. I throw a cutter and a changeup. They're not very good. Never been able to throw a changeup. Wish I could. I guess it's like my inner Kershaw coming out of messing with it. Then in the heat of the game, it's like I don't. This is never good, and it's too hard. But those three pitches, the four, the two, and the sweeper, are kind of was our main emphasis this year, and the shapes have gotten in a pretty good place, and still tinkering, still getting more comfortable with it, especially the sweeper, just making it as big and move as much as you can at a pretty good velo. But they've done a great job here, and Jake Witt and Modesto has helped me a ton with the pitch design stuff, and they've come a long way really quickly. So I'm feeling pretty good about them. Obviously, there's a lot of work to do in that aspect, but obviously being a lefty reliever, having two plus pitches to get righties and lefties out is the goal, and so establishing those the best I can, I think, will be the best way to have consistent success.
Definitely. All right. I gotta ask. It's gonna be a two-sided question. So, who's a hitter that's given you an absolute nightmare in your career, whether it's at San Diego, Central, or even Purdue, or even now? And then, what's your favorite K? Like, are you a K strut guy in big moments? Like, what's your favorite K of your career so far, too?
Uh, Hitter. Unfortunately, I never really was in the same place in college often enough to face the same guy multiple times. Uh, Probably a product of going to four schools in 6 years, but I'm trying to think. I pitched against the University of Portland last year, and they rocked me. Just rock the 1 through 9. So I guess that whole lineup last year was not my friend. Even I threw against them in the championship game. Like I said, I didn't punch anybody out, and didn't. I don't know if they had a lot of damage. I don't really remember the outing that much. It kind of blacked out, but they gave me some trouble last year because I faced them I think 2 or 3 times. And I'd prefer to never pitch at the University of Portland ever again. So hopefully, that's probably one of them. And then I'm trying to think. I probably do K strut. Like I'm kind of a blackout guy. I kind of get up there and I'm pretty even keel in 95% of my life. I'm pretty chill. I kind of keep my calm pretty well. But for some reason, I get out there and not that I'm this crazy psycho, but I it looks like I'm kind of sped up, even though I'm not. It's kind of just the state I like to be. And one of the catchers joked this year to my pitching coach, and he's like, "Calvin's like a little sped up, I think." And the pitching coach was like, "No, I just think he wants to kill everybody." Which is like, I'm not thinking kill in the moment, but I get pretty intense when things get rolling, and it's kind of worked for me. And it's been kind of a fun switch and release because when I'm out there, I kind of just get to be and do whatever I want, which is nice. And when you know that you threw that pitch to strike somebody out, it's a good feeling when you let go of it and you know it's going to happen. So I wouldn't say it's like a big show strut, but I do pace around the mound pretty good. Yeah,
Definitely, I know.
so
Yeah, it's definitely a thing. Got to strut a little bit. I mean, I black out pretty much most of the times in big spots. Like I just don't remember some of the stuff that happens. And it was actually in I think my third outing this year. I somehow got the nickname. My whole last name is Straley, so most guys just call me T Stray. But got the nickname T Strut after a performance this year.
there
Went
you go.
Came in second inning, ended up going five shutty with three punchies, three or one punchy, three hits, and just kind of stuck with the nickname. Not like I try, like don't want to be arrogant or anything on the mound. It's just kind of one of those things you black out and you don't know what's
Yeah,
going on, or you're just kind of your body's in kind of cruise control and letting everything happen. But
right.
yeah, let's shift gears a little bit. Are you a multi-sport guy? What are your like who do you support? Football, hockey? Like what do you like?
So I grew up, obviously, I played basketball all through high school. My claim to fame is that I won a state championship my senior year of high school, and I was just about the biggest role player you could ever imagine. I'm pretty tall, but I can't run or jump, which is not very, not a good aspect to have in basketball. But I liked being physical. I liked kind of being the enforcer a little bit. So definitely missed that aspect of basketball. I still love basketball. The Suns have been, kind of tough to watch the last couple of years. I went to the finals a few years ago. Big basketball guy. Purdue basketball is obviously fun to watch. So that's probably my biggest sport that I watch. Is I try not to miss a Purdue basketball game. My buddies all love it. We're not very good at football, so try to stay away from that. Um, Not a huge. I don't love. I mean, I like to go to Cardinal games. I don't watch a ton of football. Unfortunately, not like the rest of the world. Somehow, I don't know. It's just never been my thing. I like going to the games, but I can't just like sit on Sundays and watch it all day long. Even though it's pretty fun to watch. You have guys like to watch. Josh Allen and those crazy playmakers like that. But big basketball guy, big baseball guy. I love to watch golf. Golf is probably my thing that I could sit all day and watch golf, no matter what tournament it is, what it is. I'm locked in. So big golf guy now. Unfortunately, don't play a whole lot of basketball anymore, but miss that every day.
What's your handicap looking like then on the golf course?
The winter, not being employed, you get a lot of time to golf. Fortunately, unfortunately, so I got it down to like a 4 or 5. So got pretty good. Right now, it's nowhere close to that. It's pretty abysmal right now. I have not played good this year. Playing once a week isn't the best, but we have fun. You just go out with the guys and have fun and play. And we had 2 courses on campus at Purdue, so I think I probably went from a 20 whatever to got it pretty low just from having the resources that we had there was pretty cool and spent a lot of time golfing. So I got pretty decent there for a little bit, but I wouldn't say that always translates uh, very directly.
Definitely. And then, what are your other hobbies like? Are you a video game guy at all? I know a lot of pro guys that are pitchers are video game guys. And then besides that, like besides your hobbies, what's your favorite baseball movie too?
Yeah, so not a big video game guy, unfortunately. Love to watch sports, love to watch baseball, love to watch golf. Big movie guy. I'll watch movies, I'll quote movies, rewatch movies. I like TV shows too, but more of a movie guy. Um, Love, I helped run a Bible study in Modesto too, so love getting into the Word and kind of learning as much as I can about the Bible and those kind of things that have done. And I have some really good friends that help with that, so that's definitely something that's helped. And kind of a baseball nerd too, so love looking at the analytics, love looking at those kind of things. Probably a little too much at times, but it's probably the hobbies. I love to go outside and walk, love to be out in nature, go on hikes, whatever that may look like. Um, so those are kind of the things that get me going and kind of help me separate away from the field. And then baseball movie guy, probably tough between Bull Durham and For the Love of the Game. I think those two I love. The Billy Chapel and For the Love of the Game is just a good character. Love Kevin Costner, obviously. Bull Durham, same thing. I got, and when I was playing for one of my club teams, one of my coaches called me Nuke because the guy in Bull Durham's name is Calvin Lelouch. So that kind of got me into Bull Durham, and that's probably one that I watch right before baseball season every year. It's real. They did a really good job with that one. But those two movies I'd say are probably the top two for me. And Moneyball. Moneyball is a classic.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Moneyball. And then
Yeah.
what's a hidden talent of yours or a fun fact that most of your teammates wouldn't guess?
Oh, a hidden talent. I wish. See, I'm just not like a hidden talent guy. I don't think I have a lot that I could bring to the table in that one. Don't have a hole in one. It's not a cool fact. I don't know. It sounds kind of vanilla, but I don't know if I have a fun hidden fact about me. I guess people are always pretty shocked that I'm colorblind. I don't know if that's like a cool fact, but can't wear a lot of white and black and stuff like that because I don't ever. If I have to wear some sort of color in my outfit, my sisters when they get a FaceTime, like, "Hey, does this match?" And usually the answer is no. So need like a little help on that aspect, but I guess those would my yeah no real hidden talent other than semi okay at golf sometimes would be about it.
All right, yeah, and then we'll be wrapping up here soon. But what does the love of the game mean to you?
Like the movie or the quote?
Oh no, the quote, the quote.
Oh. Um, you know, especially when you get, like in pro ball, it's a job. Obviously, you get paid to do it. It's the greatest job in the world. But um, I think being in baseball in some capacity, whether it's however long God gives me the opportunity to play this game, or I think being around it will for the rest of my life will be something that I'll do. And I don't even know. I don't even know sometimes if it's for the game or if it's for the people. I just love being around the guys, being at the facility. Um, Love working, love preparing. I think you fall in love with the process. You fall in love with working maybe too hard sometimes, and it is a full time job. It's eating, it's how you eat, it's how you sleep, how you recover, and then also how you separate, how you get away from the field, how you can kind of close off that baseball mind. I think is another part of it, and I think that all comes in with just enjoying what God has given me the abilities and the opportunity to be able to do, and you know 3 4 months ago, I was pretty ready to hang him up because I didn't think that this was ever going to be an opportunity. I didn't think this door was gonna open. I thought God was calling me somewhere else, and then I walk out of the shower at 8 whatever in the morning on a random Wednesday, and I have a call from the Mariners that they want to give me a job. And so I think just stewarding and loving every day. You see the logo on your chest. You see the people you get to be around. You see the opportunities that it gets you to spread the amazing story and the amazing opportunities that God has given me, and trying to glorify him through all that I do, and trying to impact as many people along the way through this journey, through however long, like I said, I get to do this. I think the people that you impact along the way is where you find love and where you find joy, because the results and the you have a good outing, you have a bad outing, like you can get pretty caught up in the results of it, and what people treat you like when you do good and what people treat you like when you do bad. But I think having that foundation of being there for the people around you kind of gets you outside of yourself a little bit, because you can get pretty internal, especially in this game, especially in how quick it moves and those kind of things. And you don't know how long you're going to get to do it. You don't know how long you're going to stay healthy and all those kind of things. So I think just enjoying every moment, I think, and just loving not only the game, but the process and everything that comes with the day-to-day joy that it brings you, I think is what I would hang my hat on at the end of the day and say that was a good career if I knew I gave it my all every single day.
Definitely, yeah, and everybody has their own way, but for the love of the game is part of the reason we're here and on this podcast, just spread the love for doing it and the love for the process, because not everybody has it, and so just trying to spread the love and have people understand that the process in the games is what it's all about, and having fun at the end of the day, because at the end of the day it's just a game, and it's a game that we grew up playing when we're 4 or 5 years old and remembering that and where our roots were. But let's transfer a little bit. Last segment of the day, Calvin. We're gonna end with a little bit of heat, quick answers. It's gonna be the first thing that comes to your mind. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Favorite MLB pitcher of all time.
Clayton Kershaw.
Best stadium you've ever played in.
Best stadium?
Best stadium.
Dodger Stadium.
Best stadium you've played in.
I played in Dodger Stadium.
Have you?
Yeah, we played my freshman year at SC, and I pitched, and we played last year at USD, and I pitched as well.
That is wow. That's something I always
Yeah,
dream about. All right.
yeah.
Go-to pump up song.
Um, Can't Tell It All. I think it's by KB. It's like a Christian kind of rap song.
Hovey?
What?
It's by Hovey, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe. I'm not bad with artists. I'm bad with music, but I know it's Can't Tell It All.
One teammate you'd want in a dugout brawl.
I wanted to Dugout Brawl.
What one teammate you'd want? Like if on your side, if
Oh,
dugout.
I got you. Um, who? Matthew Ellis.
Okay.
I don't want him to hear this though. I can't give him that much props, but he'd be pretty good.
If you weren't a pitcher, what position would you play?
Left bench. I'm not very athletic. I'd be coaching. Luckily God gave me a left arm that could throw a ball decently well, but I couldn't hit worth a lick.
All right, Harry Potter or Star Wars?
Oh, that's tough. Oh, that's
Either
tough.
way,
I probably watch more Harry Potter now, but when growing up, it was definitely Star Wars.
go-to ballpark snack.
Uh, I love a diet soda and like a burger.
All right, bubble gum or seeds?
Gum.
Favorite baseball brand?
Baseball brand.
Baseball brand.
I like Rawlings Heart of the High Glove has treated me well.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got. But yeah, that was awesome. Definitely Star Wars, man. You got to roll Star Wars. Come on, don't do the Harry.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that the movies these days have kind of fallen off. You watch the old ones every once in a while, but I think when it's winter and it's cold outside, Harry Potter just kind of hits a little different. But those Star Wars, especially Battlefront 2, like that video game on the PlayStation, like 2 or whatever, growing up was unbeaten. So I think all time it's probably Star Wars, but I definitely watch more Harry Potter now.
Well, definitely. I know a lot of people would get some hot takes and be very upset with the Harry Potter, but
Yeah, that's all right.
at least all time we're going with Star Wars. But at the end of the day, that's a wrap on episode 4 of Pitchers Polls podcast. Correction, episode 5. Huge thanks to Calvin Schapira for hopping on and sharing his story from the grind to the greatness. Great story. 4 schools, 6 years, unsigned now. Signed and playing pro ball with the Mariners. And if you're loving these conversations, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Pitchers Pulse Podcast. Till next time, keep throwing gas, keep chasing your dreams, and stay dialed in on the Pitchers Pulse.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.